Canelo in Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing.
And too much for Crawford in his last fight against Madrov. What's that? Madrov. That was a tough fight for him. About a guy, what, he had 10 or 11 pro fights. That was a tough fight for him.
In my opinion, box size might matter, but then again, I think since I fought Canelo's become a better boxer. He started boxing more better. You know what I mean?
After the chaos surrounding the Jake Paul fight controversy, the Canelo Alvarez saga continues with shocking reports of a massive 4-fight deal. Mexican boxing star Canelo, long criticized for his unusual opponent choices and business decisions, is once again in the spotlight, this time for a potential showdown with Terence "Bud" Crawford. Recent reports suggest that all the buzz around a Jake Paul matchup was merely a publicity stunt to generate hype for what's really ahead. Renowned reporter Mike Coppinger tweeted that Canelo pulled out of a Jake Paul fight at the last minute to finalize a 4-fight deal with Riyadh Season, beginning with a May bout in Saudi Arabia and a September clash with Crawford. His Excellency Turki Alalshikh also addressed recent backlash on Twitter, stressing that despite criticism from analysts, they've delivered on their promise by securing this landmark deal. According to him, the agreement not only ensures the high-stakes matchups fans crave, but also sets a new standard by bringing them to Riyadh. He further revealed plans for what he believes will be the biggest fight in boxing history this May, followed by 2 more blockbuster bouts in 2026.
In Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September, then 2 more fights in 26. Don't miss with the line.
While the official list of Canelo's upcoming opponents beyond Crawford hasn't been revealed, speculation is rampant. Notably, Mike Coppinger suggests the May fight could feature either Jermall Charlo or Edgar Berlanga, depending on availability. For 2026, reports point to a possible rematch with Russian powerhouse Dmitry Bivol or potential matchups against Hamza Shiraz or Chris Eubank Jr., based on their performances. Following the surprise announcement, several fighters expressed excitement over the opportunity. Canelo, who usually remains silent until deals are finalized, broke his silence on Twitter, replying, "Let's go brother," to Turki Alalshikh's enthusiastic tweet about the 4-fight deal and the Crawford bout. Turki's original post read, "Don't mess with the lion. 4 fights for Canelo with Riyadh Season. The deal is done. A lion doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of a sheep. Fear the lion, not the jungle." Terence Crawford also chimed in, expressing his eagerness for the September fight. In his tweet, he wrote, "I'm waiting on Canelo in September and I'm going to shock the world in Riyadh Season." Despite the excitement, not everyone is pleased. A vocal group remains critical, especially Jake Paul, who appears frustrated that his name was used to build hype for something he wasn't truly involved in. Indirectly calling out Canelo and Turki for what he sees as shady tactics, Jake argued that modern fighters prioritize fame and money over loyalty. In his tweet, he wrote, "Fighters forget who made them so quick and start hanging around these weirdos who just want a percentage of their earnings. You and your outdated 2010 business tactics." Jake Paul didn't hold back, voicing his disappointment in Canelo for allegedly ducking him and choosing easier fights instead. He claimed this proves Canelo was never truly elite. While Jake has supported fighters making independent choices, he believes Canelo's actions contradict everything said about Turki's business strategies. He accused Canelo of caring only about personal gain rather than building a meaningful legacy for fans. In another tweet, Jake wrote, "Breaking news. Canelo Alvarez ducked me, Jake Paul, and is now a puppet with no regard for the Mexican fans who support him in the US. No surprise, his whole career, he's done nothing for boxing outside the ring. I'm the new face of boxing." Jake didn't stop there. He highlighted his rise in global fame after the Tyson fight, arguing that no event can be called the biggest of the year without his involvement. Otherwise, it's just a marketing gimmick. Despite his frustration, he ended his post on a confident note, claiming he'll redefine the sport and cement his place as boxing's true face. "You can't have the biggest fight of 2025 without my name. When your events flop and lose money, you'll realize who the real king is." 28 years old. Biggest fight in boxing history. My own boss. Not owned. 5 years in, and all you haters want me to fail. But God has other plans. This is the era of the GOAT. The era of the elephant. The era of MVP. Meanwhile, Turki Alalshikh also responded to the backlash, particularly from critics like former fighter and analyst Chris Algieri. He emphasized that negotiations often take place behind closed doors and that bold moves are sometimes necessary to maximize publicity. However, he argued that this doesn't justify baseless accusations from those who don't understand the behind-the-scenes realities.
This could be a ploy by both sides. One, Turkey using his media arm to put the pressure on Team Canelo, and Canelo being like, hey, listen, I don't hit the rush for anybody. You're waiting on me. So I think both of them are jockeying back and forth with their egos and their power. So this fight very well may happen, probably still will. But I think it's going to take we're not going to hear about it till, like I said, normal Canelo fight, 5-6 weeks.
Meanwhile, as the back and forth between these big names continues, several industry insiders have shared their thoughts on the highly anticipated fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Among them is renowned promoter Frank Warren, who considers this matchup far superior to the absurd idea of Canelo facing Jake Paul. Taking a jab at the young fighter, Frank sarcastically noted that Jake was never a serious contender for such a bout. While he acknowledged Jake's improvement over the years, he made it clear that Jake is still nowhere near the level needed to challenge elite fighters like Canelo. Instead, Frank advised Jake to focus on opponents within his own weight class, where there are plenty of legitimate contenders, rather than calling out a smaller fighter just to gain attention.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Currently, that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, off in September, and the word in the street is they're trying to make him against Jake Paul. And one of the sticking points is money to determine that, wasn't it? Everybody said they want to see Jake Paul fight somebody. What do you want to be fighting somebody? I mean, I want to see the Crawford fight. That's the fight I want.
Sharing his expert analysis on the now confirmed fight, Frank Warren reflected on the recent performances of both Canelo and Crawford. While he acknowledged Terence's incredible skill and unmatched talent, Frank made it clear that he'll be backing Canelo. His main reason: Canelo's clear size advantage. Frank also pointed out that both fighters have spent years competing against top names in their respective divisions, but with age catching up, time is no longer on their side. He believes they should take on as many major fights as possible before their peak years fade.
The Canelo and Crawford fight panning out from your perspective, obviously.
I fancied Canelo. I think Canelo is I mean, with greatest respect to him, he's obviously older and whatever. I think he's when you get to a certain time in your career where you're not going to get any better, you're only going to get worse. And I still think he would be too big and too much for.
Frank also addressed Crawford's chances of winning, which he believes are slim based on Terence's last performance against the much bigger and younger opponent, Murtazaev. According to Frank, Crawford struggled throughout that fight and failed to secure a convincing victory. He pointed out that this raises serious concerns now that Crawford plans to jump 2 weight classes to face Canelo, a far more dangerous and experienced opponent than the relatively untested Murtazaev.
Fight against Madrov. That was a tough fight for him. About a guy, he had 10 or 11 pro fights. That was a tough.
No matter who you support in this fight, one thing is certain: the fighters' recent performances will play a crucial role in shaping the outcome. As Frank Warren pointed out, both Canelo and Crawford are at a point where age is catching up, and signs of decline are starting to show. The real question is, who will be impacted more by it before they step into the ring? Adding to this, Teofimo Lopez offered his perspective, stating that in today's boxing landscape, a fighter is only as good as their last performance. No matter how dominant their career has been, if they fail to impress in their most recent outing, they enter a mega fight as the underdog by default.
What do you think Canelo and Crawford's going to play out?
Yeah, that's what it's been talking about. They've been talking about it. I mean, listen, they just got to win their fights first, and then we'll see what happens then. You know what I mean? If they're going to fight before they fight each other, I think that's the smartest thing for both parties. And then we see how they look, and we'll go from there. Because nowadays, in the modern day era, you're only as good as your last.
That being said, Teofimo Lopez's recent comments make it clear that he believes Canelo will emerge victorious over his American opponent. He attributes this to Canelo's superior skill set and size advantage. However, some fans, particularly Crawford supporters, believe Teofimo's opinion may be biased. Many have pointed out that Canelo and Teofimo have developed a close friendship over the past year, spending months sparring together and studying each other's styles and strategies. This, they argue, could be influencing his prediction.
I'm talking my. I'm always gonna talk my, but it's not. It's really truth. We're gonna back it up though. What round does Crawford get knocked out? I'm gonna put 8. Let's put it on the universe. So I'm gonna put it on 8. 8. And if it goes the other way, I 8. You know, I 8.
Another notable fighter weighing in on this highly anticipated matchup is Amir Khan. Unlike Teofimo, Amir is backing Crawford, not just due to their close bond, but also because of his first-hand experience training with him. Having shared the ring with Crawford in countless sparring sessions over the years, Amir firmly believes that if anyone can beat Canelo purely on skill, it's Terence Crawford. Calling this one of the biggest fights in recent years, the British fighter praised Crawford's bold decision to move up 2 weight classes to challenge one of the sport's best, fully aware of the tough odds he's facing.
For a reason in boxing, and even though I got a huge respect for Terence Crawford for showing the balls that he wants to go in the ring and fight a beast like Canelo, but like I said, Canelo, maybe Crawford sees something that other people are not seeing against Canelo, which is like maybe he's gone past the sell-by day, and maybe Crawford is the guy to catch him at the right time. I think it's a brilliant fight. Let's see if it happens. But like I said, if it doesn't happen, obviously I'm going to support my boy, Terence Crawford. He's a good friend of mine. Obviously we fought each other, but sometimes you put that to a side, and he shared the training camp with me last time. He spent some good time with me. I was at his house and shows all.
Having closely observed Crawford's training camps in recent months, Amir emphasized that while Terence is known for his strategic fighting style, often gaining the upper hand through experience and his ability to switch stances, he's also an incredibly powerful puncher. According to Amir, under the right conditions, Crawford has the power to drop any opponent, regardless of their weight or size advantage.
So I think he can do it. You know what I mean? One thing about Terence Crawford, he has great box IQ. His IQ is so perfect where he'll see everything. So you need everything in the game. You need from your ring IQ. You need the movement, you need the power, you need the speed. And Crawford does hit hard. A lot of people don't give Crawford the credit for the punch power he has. But Crawford does hit hard. I mean, I've been in the ring with him. He's hit.
However, Amir also acknowledged the dangers Crawford will face against Canelo. Reflecting on his own fight with the Mexican star back in 2016, Amir recalled making a similar jump in weight to challenge one of the most dangerous young fighters of that era. Looking back on what led to his defeat, he admitted that while skill is vital in boxing, there are moments when sheer weight and size can override everything else. That, he said, is exactly what happened in his bout with Canelo, where he suffered a brutal loss at the hands of a younger, stronger, and far more ruthless version of the fighter we see today.
Something I did back in the day when I was at the peak of my career after beating like Devin Alexander and all the big names.
I know. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Canelo's the beast, man. Canelo's the beast. And you know, when it was offered to me, I tried to chase the Mayweather fight at that time, and it happened. And obviously, I was probably at my peak of my career there as well. So whoever I was going to fight, I was going to give him a hard fight regardless. So we probably winning that fight against Canelo until he knocked me out. But I was boxing well. But you know, one thing, size, now I understand why they make weight divisions in boxing. Every weight division.
Speaking about the massive challenge Crawford will face in September, Amir Khan pointed out that since their fight, Canelo has not only become bigger and more ruthless, but has also significantly improved as a boxer. This was evident in his bout against Jamie Munguia, where, despite criticism about his form and skill level, Canelo secured an impressive victory. Amir emphasized that this could pose a serious problem for anyone, especially for a fighter like Crawford, who is making a major jump in weight to take on this challenge.
I think Crawford, in my opinion, but size might matter. But then again, I think since I fought Canelo's become a better boxer. He started boxing more better. You know what I mean? Technical more. Especially against the last fight against Mangui. He boxed really well as well. And he's looking really good. He's still, a lot of people might say, oh, he's getting old, this, another.
Considering Amir's analysis and the recent training footage released by Canelo's camp, it's clear that Canelo has evolved into a dangerous force, possibly in the best shape of his career. His goal appears straightforward: to land the biggest, most lucrative fights before retirement while cementing his legacy as one of the greatest boxers of his generation by facing some of the best in the sport's history. So, what do you think about this entire situation? Are you excited about Canelo's surprising 4-fight deal with Riyadh Season, which includes the long-awaited showdown with Terence Crawford? Or do you think he should have taken the fight with Jake Paul instead? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.